Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Michelle Fondin, and welcome to the Divine Feminine Empowerment Vlog. I believe this is vlog number 8, and it's been a while since I've done a vlog. I'm here with my Padawan Grogu, and I'm here with my Grogu Tumbler as well, and I've got some Vata tea. If you don't know what Vata means and what Vata tea means, check out my book. It's my very first book that I ever wrote. It was published by New World Library after I self-published it. I self-published it in 2014. New World Library picked it up, published it in 2015. It's called The Wheel of Healing with Ayurveda, an easy guide to a healthy lifestyle. So do check out that book and you'll figure out, what does Vata tea mean? If you're new to my channel, welcome. Thanks for subscribing below. Click on the bell, scroll up to all for all notifications. And thank you for giving the video a thumbs up. Hey guys, I'm so happy to be back doing a vlog with you guys. I'm gonna get a little comfy here. I'm gonna take a sip of my Vata tea. Really hot, but really good. Not caffeinated at all. This is a no caffeine tea. It's an herbal tea. So it's just gonna make me feel all tranquil inside, very zen. And what I wanted to talk to you about today, gosh, there's just been so much happening in my life that I don't even know where to begin. I'm still writing the book, in case you're wondering, I'm still writing the book, The Empowered Divine Feminine, Becoming an Unstoppable Woman in the 21st Century and Beyond. And it is my plan. We are now in May of 2023. It is my plan to finish writing the book by the end of May. That's my plan, guys, which gives me June for editing and maybe July for publication. We shall see. I swore that I was not going to publish a book in summer again because it's a grueling experience when you're supposed to be enjoying your summer. Instead, I'm working on recording audio for Audible books. I'm doing editing, marketing, all that jazz. I promised myself I would never do it again in summer, but hey, I moved, and so I put myself in this situation because it caused a delay in my writing process, which is fine because guess what? I'm so much happier on so many levels in my new home. I'm so much happier. This is amazing. For some of you that don't know me and don't know like my plight here, I moved to Southern California mid-2018. I moved to Southern California for a lifelong dream of wanting to live in Southern California my entire life. Well, most of my life, since I was 15. I finally made it here mid-2018, but it was under some precarious situation. So I didn't have a lot of money, if any. I didn't have a lot of money. At the time I moved, I did not have a job. I had clients in Virginia, but of course, you can't bring your clients with you. This was before Zoom was popularized, and it was before people were really doing a lot of online meetings. So there wasn't even that. And so I moved into an apartment. Now, of course, I was close to the beach, which was a blessing. But it wasn't a great energetic match for me. The apartment was good, but the place was not a great energetic match. And so I was just feeling it. Like I had problems the whole 4 years with neighbors and such, and it was just too much. It was too much to handle. So I am very, very, very grateful to be where I am today, living in a single family home, tranquility and quiet and serenity and my own space. Oh my God, this makes me feel so empowered on so many levels in body, mind, soul, spirit, emotions, everything. I'm feeling so much more empowered in my new space. And so because I'm feeling so much more empowered in my new space, it stands to reason that I'm able to create more meaningful content for you guys because I'm just feeling better overall. I was not feeling well 3 out of the 4 years, I guess, that I was in that apartment, and maybe 4 out of 4 because the first year was like my dark night of the soul after meeting my twin flame. So go figure, guys. But what I wanted to talk to you about, because I think that's really important, and I didn't even know I was going to tell that story at all before beginning the vlog. That's why I kind of like vlogs, because they're very spontaneous, or at least they're supposed to be very spontaneous. But I didn't know I was going to tell that story, which is kind of a good segue to what I want to talk to you about today. That is, your guidance is only as good as your emotional health. I'll say that again. Your guidance is only as good as your emotional health. Let's get cozy. I'm going to kick off my Crocs here. Let's get cozy. I'm going to sit back a little bit in my chair, and we are going to talk about what this is. Why did I pick this as a topic? Why? Back in 2014, I think it was 2014. Back in 2014, it was the end of 2014. After I self-published my first book, The Wheel of Healing with Ayurveda, I was in an author's conference. And at this author's conference, I met a woman who was a great woman, who was an angel reader. In fact, she was an intuitive and spirit medium. And she did a reading for me. And I was having a lot of difficulty in a romantic relationship at the time. Go figure. Go figure, Michelle, right? Michelle having difficulty in romantic relationships? Right? Never happened before. She did an angel intuitive reading for me. And then I kind of became hooked on that. And really, she was a stepping stone or a segue into me doing intuitive readings myself. But as I got to know this particular reader, I realized that some of her guidance was a bit misguided. Now, let me tell you what I believe in my heart of hearts. What I believe in my heart of hearts was that she is a truly gifted reader. She's a truly gifted intuitive and a truly gifted person in general. This person in particular in her past had struggled with a lot of addictions to drugs. I believe alcohol, but mostly drugs. And I'm not certain, I can't be certain, but I don't think she went through any program to clear out that stuff, if you will. She had quit, but not gone through the self-healing process that's normally required if you have an addictive behavior that has become obsessive and a long duration of that. There's a lot of emotional scars that still remain. In her giving me guidance and advice for a couple of years, as I grew in my own spirituality, as I grew as a person, I started to realize that some of the things she was saying, just while it might have been kind of accurate, I just felt like something was off. Something wasn't right. The messages were just a little off kilter, a little askew. And what I learned through other teachers was that guidance is only as good as a person's emotional health. And I would add into that spiritual growth. You really need to take with a grain of salt someone, a reader, an intuitive, a healer, someone who is giving you advice, someone who's doing a reading for you, giving you advice, someone who's guiding you spiritually. You need to take it with a grain of salt, meaning you yourself do not know how much that person that's in front of you has emotionally healed, because that is a really, really, really important piece in being able to transfer messages, transfer energy to the person, the client that you are reading for, and giving them accurate messages. Now, here's the way I like to think about it. The way I like to think about it is you are a channel. Think of yourself as like a pipe, if you will. You're like a pipe. Think of like plumbing in a pipe. So think of a pipe, like a PVC pipe, going from heaven through your crown chakra and through I'd say the crown chakra, the third eye chakra, the throat chakra, right? And if you are saying something, then that message should be pure because it's downloading from divine source, right? However, if your crown chakra, your third eye chakra, even your ear chakras and your throat chakra, if they are clogged, then some of the divine messages are going to get through, but some of them might not be coming through. Now let's go back to that PVC pipe. If that PVC pipe in plumbing has corrosion in it, like if it's got food particles stuck in it, if it's got mineral deposits stuck in it, if it's just got dirt and gunk stuck in it, you might have water coming through that PVC pipe, but that water might get dirty, or it might have mineral deposits or something else stuck in it. So the water that's coming through those pipes might not be pure. And in the same way, if you as a channel or a person who is reading for you is a channel and has not worked through their emotional baggage, they haven't worked through their wounds, they haven't transcended their ego completely, right? They might have done some work, but they're carrying with them the garbage. So as that message is coming through, it's not going to be completely pure because it has to go through the garbage that they are dealing with themselves. And that is the danger of believing someone at 100% who is doing a reading for you, who's doing intuitive work for you, who's doing an astrology reading for you, who's doing whatever. And they're giving those messages to you when you are in a very, very vulnerable space. And so when we think about it, we have to just be careful with who we listen to, the people we get readings from. And it's very hard to tell, right? It's hard to tell if someone is completely healed, but more often than not, if they're giving you their advice, so to speak, or they're giving you some sort of judgment or some sort of judgment toward the person you're wanting to inquire about, whether it's your twin flame or your boyfriend, girlfriend, or one of your kids or a parent. So sometimes if they are assessing judgment, then that could just be their own baggage that's kind of sticking to the divine message, because of course, divine messages do not have judgment attached to them. They can assess something that's real, that's happening, that's going on. Like, for example, I've been reading for people who want to know about their twin flame. And if I see that their twin flame, for example, this is just an example, guys, I'm not speaking of anyone in particular, but if I am reading for them and I see like their twin flames is involved in a third party, so I would just say it looks like your twin flame might be involved with a third party. That's just what I'm seeing, or that's just what I'm hearing. And another example of that is it seems like you might be dealing with some inner child wounds, and in particular with guilt or shame or whatever those happen to be. So if a reader is really reading from a place of trying to get the purest message possible, they might use language like "it seems," or "the impression I'm getting," or "the message I'm getting is," and then they would ask by following up by saying, does that resonate with you? Does that resonate with you? And it's not, here's the thing about a reader or an intuitive or a health coach or whatever it is, like if they're doing any kind of emotional / spiritual work, it's not about them, the person, because you as a person who is doing something spiritual for someone else, you're just a channel. So there's no attachment, there's no judgment. You don't attach your own emotional baggage to their stuff. It's just not yours. So there's that. Now, if you are reading for yourself or doing intuitive work for yourself, remember that as a rule of thumb too. And this is really important because for years, I got so frustrated when doing readings for myself because I started by practicing doing readings for myself every single day. And I did this starting back in 2015. And I went through some training to learn how to read professionally in early 2016. But I started doing readings daily for myself in 2015 because I was my best guinea pig. You are your best guinea pig. But because I didn't have the knowledge of understanding that your reading is only as good as your intuitive advice is only as good as your emotional health and your spiritual health, I would sometimes crumble to the ground when I would get certain messages because I was probably asking the wrong questions and I was interpreting a card as being all good or all bad. And that's not the way, if you're a professional reader, that's not the way you interpret cards. In fact, a good card can indicate something that's not so great, and a bad card can indicate something that's good or helpful. So it's mostly through the intuitive messages that you get that you can get more accuracy, but you need a level of detachment to be able to do that. So when you're doing readings for yourself, when you're getting intuitive messages for yourself, one thing you really need to assess is how emotionally healed am I? Am I the best judge of my own intuitive messages to their accuracy? And am I emotionally attached or emotionally involved in the message that I am receiving, which is most of the time, guys? If I'm emotionally attached to the messages that I'm getting or receiving, am I going to sully, right? Am I going to dirty those messages because I'm too close to the situation and I'm not emotionally healed? And so when you get that, it becomes a lot better for you. When you get that, you're not going to be listening to every Tom, Dick, and Harry on YouTube or, just signing up for different readings with different people, just not knowing their background, not knowing how well they are healed, and not knowing if they are filtering these beautiful, pure messages that come from spirit through their garbage, through their dirty PVC pipes. And so I just think that's so important. And, something else came to me, and I certainly do not want to dig deep into this, but it's just an example. I was raised Christian. I was raised Catholic and then became born again Christian in my early 30s. And I know the Bible quite well. Not super well, but quite well. Because I think the Bible is like a lifelong study. And there was a question brought to me recently. I'm not going to address this question on YouTube. I just think it's too sensitive to ever address on YouTube. And I just don't want to bring that judgment to me. Really, I don't. The question brought to mind something about the writers of the Bible. Because the Bible, while divinely guided, was written by human beings. And the same goes for these human beings who in some part were prophets of God, right? Who were messengers of God. But let's say they received the divine messages, right? Just like you would receive intuitive messages from divine source. So they received divine messages, let's say through their crown chakra, but based on their own personal growth, based on the society they were living in, based on the culture they were living in, based on their education at the time, those divine messages were coming through a filter that might filter out the purity of divine messages. So while we can look at sacred texts, such as the Bible and other sacred texts, as sacred, meaning there are things in these sacred texts that are miraculous and sacred and true. However, when we look at how things were written in the ways that they were written, we need to understand that human beings still had to write them. So while the messages were coming through the divine, they were still filtered through imperfect human beings, because no human is perfect. And so when we can understand that, we can understand that even sacred texts are not perfect in every word, okay? Because they were written through imperfect humans. So there you go. So just know that and take solace in it when you are in the depths of despair on your twin flame journey and you're working through like, I need to get a reading from someone. Like, I need guidance from someone. I need to understand what's happening to me, what I'm going through. And as you are receiving messages from yourself or from others, just know that I need to take this with a level of detachment, because the source, the channel through the source might not be perfect, because the PVC pipe might be a little dirty. And I think that's just a really beautiful way to look at guidance and feeling more empowered. Because have you ever, I know this has happened to me, and we'll close about here, but I know this has happened to me. Have you ever had a reading that left you feeling totally disempowered? I know I had one astrology reading like that, and this was way back, but I had an astrology reading that really left me feeling totally disempowered, 100% disempowered. And I believe it was because the person who was reading for me had so many wounds that he still had not dealt with. But of course, I didn't know it at the time, because I came to this reader, and this was probably back in 2010, but I went to this reader because I was so incredibly vulnerable and I didn't know where to turn. And he was recommended by someone that I highly regarded, or still have high regards, but the person himself, the one who was giving the astrology reading, you could tell just he would assess his own judgment. And I came out feeling so incredibly disempowered. And so when you take your guidance and you say, is this the purest message that has come through? Then you can assess whether or not it's true for you. And you can feel empowered to take that intuition, take that intuitive guidance, and decide whether or not it is going to apply to your life. Because not all readers, it's unfortunate, but not all readers take responsibility for the influence that they have on their clients. And that's just something I wanted to say to you, because I know many people feel very vulnerable at this time, and especially on the twin flame journey, you're feeling so vulnerable already, is that if you even have doubts about your own guidance, the guidance that you have been receiving yourself, and you're like, I feel like I'm totally not emotionally healed yet, and I feel like I'm getting knee-jerk reactions to and fro, then it might be time to cross-check, to cross-verify with someone you really trust to get guidance. Again, that might take some time and effort, but at least if you take a step back in both of those instances, then you can really see what is true that is coming through for you. So I hope this was helpful, Twin Flame. Thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for subscribing to my channel below. Click on the bell, scroll up to all for all notifications. And thank you for giving the video a thumbs up. Thank you for sharing this video with other Divine Feminine Twin Flames. And thank you so much for your support of my YouTube channel. You can buy one of my 10 published books. You can join a Twin Flame Divine Feminine Bootcamp, number 1 or number 2, or my meditation course. You can also join us for our group coaching. The links are all below. And I will see you in the next video.